Everyone wants to know the same thing. Can you really become a millionaire in just 10 years? It sounds like a fantasy until you look at the math, because wealth isn't magic, it's a formula. A formula made of three elements: time, consistency, and discipline. Most people obsess over the money part, but time is the most powerful variable. If you can make time work for you instead of against you, the outcome changes completely. This video breaks down how to do that. We'll find out how much you actually need to invest every month to reach $1 million. And more importantly, how to make that goal realistic in the world we live in today. The numbers might surprise you, but the logic will make perfect sense. A few decades ago, the American dream meant owning a house with a white picket fence, a new car in the driveway, and a stable job that lasted 30 years. That version of success was built on stability, not freedom. But the world has changed. Today, the new dream isn't about possessions. It's about control. Control over your time, your choices, and your future. And for many Americans, that control starts with one number: $1 million. Not because it's glamorous, but because it's practical. That's the amount most people need to retire comfortably, to stop trading hours for survival, and to protect their families from uncertainty. It's no longer about becoming rich, it's about escaping dependence. The truth is, 1 million today doesn't buy yachts and mansions. It buys peace of mind. It buys the freedom to say no. It gives you the power to walk away from a job you hate and still sleep at night. But here's the catch. That same million is getting harder to reach because the cost of living keeps climbing faster than most people's incomes. Housing prices have outpaced wages for decades. Healthcare costs have doubled in less than a generation. And retirement, once something guaranteed by pensions, is now entirely your responsibility. That's why people chase the million. Not to show off, but to survive with dignity. The new American dream isn't about owning more. It's about worrying less. It's the dream of waking up and realizing you don't depend on anyone else's paycheck. You decide when to work, where to live, and how to spend your days. That kind of freedom has a price. And the sooner you understand it, the sooner you can start building toward it. Because the goal isn't money itself. It's what the money makes possible. And that's what this entire journey is really about. Wealth may look complicated, but in reality it follows a simple equation. There are only three variables that matter: how much you invest, how long you invest, and how fast it grows. Every financial journey starts with these numbers, not luck or secrets. The problem is that most people underestimate the power of the first two: the amount and the time. They believe only a high return will make them rich, when in fact, time and consistency do most of the work. Let's make it visual. Imagine you invest $500 a month in a simple index fund that earns about 7% per year. After 10 years, you'll have around $85,000. Double your monthly investment to $1,000, and you're now sitting at roughly $170,000. But here's where it gets interesting. If instead of 10 years, you stay invested for 20, the result isn't double. It's more than 4 times higher. That's how exponential growth works. The money doesn't just add up, it accelerates. Each dollar you earn begins to earn its own dollars, creating a chain reaction of growth. The earlier you start, the longer that reaction has to unfold. Think of it as pushing a snowball down a hill. At first, it's small and slow, but as it rolls, it gathers more snow, grows heavier, and moves faster on its own. That's compound growth in motion. It rewards patience, not speed. Because while everyone is chasing quick profits, the investor who stays consistent lets time do the heavy lifting. And this is where the real mindset shift begins. You don't need a miracle return or the next big stock. You need a system that allows small, steady actions to repeat long enough for math to take over. Wealth isn't built in sudden jumps. It's built through quiet, predictable repetition. The formula never changes. But the person who follows it with discipline eventually does. If you're enjoying this breakdown, hit the like button and subscribe for more stories that reveal how money really works. And later in this video, we'll break down exactly how much time and how much money it really takes to reach $1 million. So stick around, because the numbers might surprise you. There's one element in wealth that no one can buy, borrow, or recover: time. It's the quiet multiplier that decides who reaches freedom and who keeps chasing it. You can earn more money or find better returns, but you can't rewind a single year. Because time doesn't just measure growth, It creates it. Each year, your money stays invested. It builds invisible layers of progress beneath the surface. Think of it like pouring concrete for a foundation. Every new layer hardens and supports the next, making the structure stronger the longer it stands. But when you delay, the structure never reaches its full height. Let's make that real. Imagine two friends investing $1,000 a month at a 7% annual return. Both plan to retire at 65, but one begins at 25 and the other waits until 35 to start. They invest the same amount each month in the same way for the same goal. The only difference is 10 years. Yet when they reach 65, the early investor ends up with nearly double the wealth. Those 10 extra years didn't just add money, they added momentum. Because the first decade of investing is like the ignition phase of a rocket. Most of the effort happens early, but once it's in motion, it keeps accelerating on its own. That's the invisible work time does in the background. The later investor never catches up because compounding doesn't reward effort, it rewards duration. Each year you wait isn't just a missed deposit. It's a generation of growth that will never exist. Money doesn't grow in straight lines. It grows in curves that steepen with every passing year. The longer your money stays invested, the sharper that curve becomes. That's why patience isn't passive. It's an active investment in time itself. Even Warren Buffett's fortune proves it. Over 90% of his wealth came after 60, simply because he gave time more decades to work for him than anyone else. You can rebuild after mistakes, recover from losses, and start again after failure. But you can never reclaim the years you didn't invest. Because once that decade is gone, so is the compounding it could have created. If there's one concept that feels like magic in finance, it's compound growth. It's the quiet engine behind every fortune that seems impossible to explain. At first it looks boring. Your balance grows slowly, almost invisibly. But give it time, and something remarkable happens. The money you earned begins to earn its own money. Those small returns start multiplying in the background, like sparks lighting a chain of candles, each one igniting the next. That's the moment when your effort stops doing all the work, and the system starts working for you. Every dollar invested becomes a tiny factory producing more dollars. Those new dollars build more factories, creating an endless loop of growth. This is why compound growth is often misunderstood. People expect excitement, quick jumps, and instant rewards, but compounding doesn't reward speed. It rewards stillness. It rewards the investor who lets time do its invisible work without interference. Think of a river that starts as a single stream. It winds quietly through the landscape, then splits into new channels. Each stream feeds back into the same current until one trickle becomes a powerful flow that carves valleys into stone. That's how compounding shapes wealth, quietly but permanently. Let's put numbers behind the metaphor. Investing $1,000 a month at 7% for 10 years gives you around $170,000. Keep going for 20 years, and you reach over $500,000. Stretch it to 30 years, and the total passes $1.2 million. The first decade feels small, the second looks steady, and the third becomes unstoppable. The math didn't change, the time did. Because growth doesn't happen in a straight line, it curves upward as the years stack on each other. That's why patience isn't just a virtue, it's a financial strategy. Compound growth rewards silence, not excitement. It happens when no one's watching. And that's exactly why most people never experience it. For most investors, the biggest threat isn't a market crash. It's inflation, the silent thief that steals your progress while pretending nothing's wrong. You don't see it happening day by day, but over time, it eats away at everything you've built. Inflation is like termites inside a wooden house. You don't hear them, you don't see them. But one day, you touch the wall and it collapses in your hand. That's what happens when you ignore the cost of living. Your savings might look bigger on paper, but their power quietly shrinks. $1 million in 1990 could buy as much as $2.5 million today. So, if your money isn't growing faster than prices, you're not moving forward. You're falling behind in slow motion. Inflation works like compound interest in reverse. It doesn't destroy all at once. It corrodes gradually, using time as its weapon. Each year, it takes a little more from your purchasing power, until even a millionaire struggles to feel wealthy. That's why holding cash isn't safety, it's surrender. Every dollar you leave idle is a dollar melting in value. It's like trying to store snow under the sun. It looks fine at first, but the loss is inevitable. People often blame bad investments for their struggles, but the real culprit is the invisible tax we all pay. You don't vote for it. You don't see it on a bill, but it charges you every single day you wait to act. Even conservative investors must beat inflation just to stand still. If your savings earn 4% and inflation runs at 5%, your growth is a disguised decline. That's why building wealth isn't about chasing the highest return. It's about earning more than what the world quietly takes away from you. Because inflation never sleeps, never slows, and never forgives hesitation. It's the quiet current pulling you backward while you think you're swimming forward. And the only way to escape it is to move faster than the tide. A financial plan isn't a statue carved in stone. It's a living system that must evolve as your life changes. The biggest mistake investors make is thinking they can set a number once and forget about it. The truth is, your income, expenses, and goals will all shift over time. And if your investments don't adapt, they slowly fall behind reality. You can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. That's what long-term investing is about. Small course corrections that keep you moving toward freedom. Your first goal might be to invest $1,000 a month, but that number can't stay frozen forever. If your salary grows 3% per year and your contributions don't, inflation quietly erases your progress. Yet if you increase your investment by that same 3%, the results over time are dramatic. In 20 years, that small adjustment can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars more in your portfolio. That's how small changes compound, not through luck, but through alignment with real life. Think of your plan as a living organism. It grows, adapts, and learns with you. When you change jobs, your plan changes. When your income rises, your plan should rise too. And when markets shift, you don't panic. You adjust. Investing is like sailing across a vast ocean. You don't control the current, but you constantly trim the sails, recalibrate your direction, and keep your eyes on the horizon. The ocean rewards those who adapt, not those who freeze. Consistency doesn't mean doing the exact same thing forever. It means staying committed to progress, even when the method evolves. That's what separates investors who drift from those who arrive. Because reality never stands still, and neither should your strategy. The goal stays the same: freedom. But the path to reach it requires constant refinement, and every adjustment you make, no matter how small, becomes another step toward that horizon where money no longer controls your time. One of the biggest traps for new investors is thinking that success depends on finding the perfect investment. They spend years searching for the next big thing, jumping from one trend to another, never realizing the truth. You don't need to find the perfect wave, you just need to stay on the board long enough to reach the shore. Wealth isn't built by guessing right once, it's built by staying consistent through time. And for most Americans, that path starts with simple, proven tools that already exist. If your employer offers a 401k, that's your first engine. It lets you invest automatically before you even see the money, often with a company match that doubles your contribution instantly. That's free money, the only kind that exists in finance. Next, you have the IRA, the individual retirement account. A Roth IRA grows tax-free, while a traditional IRA lets you deduct contributions today and pay taxes later. Both are powerful because they protect your growth from the drag of taxes year after year. Then come index funds and ETFs, the silent workhorses of wealth. Funds like the S&P 500 VTI or SCHD give you exposure to hundreds of companies with a single decision. They don't require predictions, and they never call in sick. Your only job is to stay invested and let time do the rest. This is where most people fail. They treat investing like a game of chance instead of a strategy of patience. They buy when prices rise and sell when fear hits, turning long-term plans into short-term losses. But the data is clear. Time in the market beats timing the market every single time. You don't need to outsmart Wall Street. You just need to let compounding run long enough to outlast emotion. Think of wealth as a bridge. It doesn't need 1,000 parts, just a few strong ones, built to last. The simpler your system, the stronger it becomes. Because complexity breaks under pressure, but simplicity endures through storms. So stop searching for the perfect investment. Pick a solid one, automate it, and let time take care of perfection for you. The hardest part of building wealth isn't numbers, it's behavior. The market doesn't defeat investors, their emotions do. We like to believe that logic drives our financial choices, but fear and impatience are always in the driver's seat. When prices fall, fear whispers that it's different this time. When they rise, greed convinces us we're missing out. Our brains are wired for survival, not compounding. They want safety now, not growth later. That's why most investors lose, even in a winning system. They quit before the process rewards them. Building wealth is like growing coral beneath the ocean's surface. You don't see progress for years, but slowly it forms massive structures strong enough to outlast storms. Above the surface, the chaos distracts you. News cycles, trends, and headlines scream for your attention. But real progress happens below, where patience does its quiet work. Markets are mirrors that reflect who you are. They don't test your intelligence, they test your endurance. Can you stay calm when everyone else panics? Can you ignore the noise when the world is shouting? If not, the ocean will pull you under long before you reach shore. You can't control the waves, but you can control your anchor. That anchor is discipline. It keeps your emotions from steering the ship off course. The best investors aren't the smartest. They're the most consistent. They trust the plan even when their feelings don't. Because wealth isn't a math problem, it's a patience problem. You don't need perfect timing or perfect picks. You need emotional stability through imperfect moments. That's how long-term winners are made. They stop treating investing as entertainment and start treating it as endurance. In the end, the real game isn't about predicting the future. It's about surviving the present long enough to let the future pay off. So let's answer the question that started this whole journey. How much do you actually need to invest to reach $1 million? Now that we understand how time and compounding work, the answer becomes simple, but never easy. It all depends on how much time you give your money to grow. Let's start with the short race, 10 years. If you want $1 million in a decade, you'd need to invest around $5,700 to $6,000 every month, assuming a 7% annual return. That's possible for high earners, but for most people, it's a tight and demanding plan. Now stretch that timeline to 20 years. Suddenly, the target becomes far more realistic, about $1,000 a month. Same goal, different decade, completely different pressure. Add another 10 years, and the math becomes even more forgiving. With 30 years of compounding, that same million requires only about $400 a month. The difference isn't magic. It's time doing what time always does, multiplying quiet effort into exponential results. Each decade you add doesn't just lower the cost, it multiplies the reward. Because the longer your money works, the less you have to. That's the real secret people miss. They think the key is investing more. But the truth is, it's about investing longer. Time stretches the bridge between effort and freedom, turning a distant dream into a reachable milestone. That's why starting early is so powerful. It shifts the odds permanently in your favor. The goal never changed. Only the timeline did. And that single choice decides whether your money feels like a burden or a blessing. You don't need to invest a fortune to become a millionaire. You just need to give your money enough time to become one. We started this journey with a simple question. How much do you need to invest to reach $1 million? But along the way, you probably realized the answer was never just a number. The math was the easy part. The mindset was the real lesson. Because wealth isn't built by formulas, it's built by habits. You don't need perfect timing or huge paychecks. You need patience, discipline, and the courage to stay consistent when nothing seems to be happening. Money is a loyal worker, but only if you give it a job and never interrupt its shift. Every deposit you make is like adding another worker to your team. At first, they move slowly, building the foundation one brick at a time. But as the years pass, the team grows larger, faster, and stronger, until the system runs without you. That's when freedom begins. Wealth isn't built in leaps, it's built in layers, quiet, steady, and unglamorous. Each year you stay invested adds another brick to that structure. Miss a year, and the wall stops growing. Stay long enough, and it becomes unshakable. Patience is the oxygen of compounding. Without it, everything suffocates. The best moment to start was 10 years ago. The second best moment is right now. Because time lost is opportunity gone, but time ahead is still a gift. No matter your age or income, the math will always favor those who begin. The clock is ticking either way. The only question is whether it's working for you or against you. Every dollar you invest today is a silent worker that never clocks out. It never complains. It never asks for a raise. It just keeps building your future, one quiet day at a time. So start the shift. Let time do the heavy lifting. And watch how small actions done long enough become the story of your freedom. If this video helped shift your perspective, hit like and subscribe for more stories that reveal how money really works. And let me ask you this. If you had to choose, would you rather start investing small today and let time do the work, or wait until you can invest big later, risking those lost years of compounding? Drop your answer in the comments because that choice reveals how you truly think about wealth and freedom. And if you want to go deeper, don't stop here. Click on one of the videos on your screen right now. Each one will take you further into the strategies, history, and mindset shifts that can change the way you build wealth, not just this year, but for the rest of your life.